So, welcome to the latest Facebook Live from Minerva Growth. There's my dog, where we look to bring value to business owners around the globe on topics that be useful to them right now and also into the future. So, hi, thanks for agreeing to take part in the live chat today. Please, can you introduce yourself and also your business?
Hi there, my name is Steve Lloyd and I'm the Managing Director for Exhibition Mastery Limited.
Excellent, amazing. So, tell us a bit more about the business. Obviously,
Okay.
that's quite an exciting business name, so you need to explain. You can't leave it like that. You got to explain
Oh,
a
I
bit more.
know, yeah, but it's just that pregnant pause and tension, you see. So,
It's there.
it's Exhibition Mastery Limited is looking at how you exhibit your business at live events, at online events, and face to face, and doing it day to day rather. So, it's ensuring that you're using the best practices that you get from event marketing, from those big wow factor kind of exhibitions, trade shows, that kind of stuff, and then ensure you're applying all of those things to ensure that your business is actually being successful and it's exhibiting itself all the time.
So many questions from that already. Okay, so how did you get started? What's your background?
Well, I've always worked in sales, telecommunication, client services, customer services, that kind of thing. And from an early age, I always saw that the sales through service was really, really successful, was generally higher ticket, generally better retention. And a number of years ago now, I started with a project management consultancy. And after the day after my induction, they gave me all of the brochures and said, "You need to read this and learn it." I said, "Why?" "Because tomorrow you're representing us on an exhibition stand." And that was, "Ooh, wow, okay, trial by fire." Um, and I did it, and I just went out and I talked. And because I didn't know anything, I only knew a bit about stuff. All what I did was ask the delegates lots of questions and qualified them and all of this kind of stuff, and wasn't really realizing that's what I was doing. And so that's where it kind of came from. And then the initial crash happened back in 2008 2009, and I was made
Absolutely.
redundant. The company unfortunately went from about 30 to down to 6. Started my own business in terms of a client services gun for hire, really. And it wasn't until I'd say 2 and a bit years ago that I really discovered that actually I'm really good at exhibitions and I really enjoy it. And I started to notice that other exhibitors weren't doing things well. They'd spend loads of money, but there weren't things happening well. But the stand I was working on had queues, basically. So, and it was like, okay, well, what are we doing differently? And so I started studying and really kind of looking into it, and that's where it kind of came about, really. So ultimately, exhibition mastery became real. I'd say midway through last year, and then during lockdown, it was. I thought, let's start the business properly, and then take it from my client services gun for hire, and actually created Exhibition Mastery Limited.
So that was my next question. The obvious question is events are one of those, I think they're probably the second most heavily affected industry by the COVID pandemic lockdown and all that kind of stuff. So what are you seeing in the event industry? It's absolutely as decimated as I think it has.
Yeah, there's been a lot of we start live events, fingers crossed, everything going well as it is at the moment, back in October in business events, but they're heavily limited and very, very constrained. It's frustrating for those for us in the events and exhibition industry, because we can go to the pub and we can all have a chat and we can talk about business over a beer, but we can't actually talk about business in an exhibition hall,
Hmm.
where if you look at the event industry, that they're full of project managers, they're full of problem solvers. You say to them, right, we need to ensure that there's space. Guess what? We can do that, and we can do it faster than any other industry out there. Full stop. Because that's what we do. We create these events that are a couple of days or a week long. They're fully within regulation, within safety. There's health and safety. There's massive health and safety in normal times, let alone during COVID times. So it's a bit of a frustration for us, but it has sparked a different thought process around events and terminology like hybrid events and virtual events. I'm sure that there's like virtual networking, all of that kind of stuff, which sometimes is actually better than the real networking, interestingly. Um, but yeah, there's many of my event colleagues that have been really significantly affected. I play in a function band as well, and we had a really busy summer and kind of late autumn and Christmas booked up, and we've got nothing obviously because we can't legally play. So, um, which is a shame, as I really love that. Um, but it goes through the entire, it just goes through the entire event industry.
It's crazy. You are absolutely right. You know, you can go to the pub and there might be 100, 200 people in this pub and not particularly socially distanced. I haven't got back into that yet, but the pictures I'm seeing. But
Mm.
then an event for maybe 500 people in a huge, ginormous bloody building, which has got loads of area, loads of space between you all. It's mad how it's been put on the back foot and the back burner. But October the 1st, fingers crossed, I hope it all changes for you.
Well,
So,
indeed, yeah.
go on.
I
No,
was
go
going to
on.
say, in terms of the networking conference, because you've got different size events. You've got the mega
Mm,
events that happen at kind of like the Olympia and the NEC, where you've got thousands upon thousands of people that's coming across. The business to business and the trade shows generally are more focused. So there aren't as many people coming in. They number in the thousands, but the, the ones that I've been to and attended, there is always space on there. The smaller networking conferences that support local business and local SMEs, and those others that are trying to get a startup, you don't normally get a high footfall on those purely because they're not at a bigger area. They're run by a small local event. The lists are smaller, so it would be great to get those kicked off because the whole the networking conference, typical one, you've got table chairs, there's a couple of speakers, wander around, that
mhm.
kind of stuff, done for a morning or something. They're really really valuable, um, and they're the lifeblood for a lot of small companies and local companies, and we can run those very easily and quite quickly as well. So come October, fingers crossed, let's get it going, let's get Britain meeting.
100%. So, what impact does your business have on your clients, or what impact will it have on its clients?
So in terms of the exhibition mastery, it's ensuring that when you are exhibiting, you are getting a return on that exhibition spend. And in live face-to-face events, then it's ensuring that you're doing the right things so that you're getting the right people at your stand, you're behaving correctly on the stand so that you're getting the leads in. And the impact that you see is a much accelerated sales process, faster time to decision, more leads, more sales ultimately, and you want that return on investment, better customer engagement, and much more focus. So it covers a whole area of marketing as well. But in terms of the event stuff, it is ensuring that you're getting that return on. If you're going to spend anything on any kind of event, you want to get a return on investment, and Exhibition Mastery ensures that that happens.
It sounds like it's going to be very, very valuable then, because there's still not, from my background. I mean, it's been a few years now, but it's people spend massive amounts of money on this kind of stuff,
Hmm.
and necessarily just never ever see any type of return back on that investment as well. So it's crazy,
Yeah,
crazy.
it's ridiculous, and it's their own fault as well,
Mm.
because you go into as an exhibitor, if you go in, if you haven't done your preparation and you haven't really thought about how you can get the best out of it, it doesn't matter how good you are on the stand, of which most of them aren't that good, then and not how good you are on follow up, which most of them aren't good on the follow up. You're never going to get that return. You're never going to get that return on investment. And it's actually, there's a few simple things that people can do to then to ensure that when they are doing any kind of event, whether or not it's a virtual one, it's a hybrid one, or it's a face to face, or it's just a sign of a launch, there's certain things that they can do that actually then gets that excitement and helps get that return.
Love it. Makes a lot of sense. So, a personal question. Well,
Mm.
not a personal question, but more about you than the business now. So, what drives and motivates you?
What drives and motivates me? So I'm a family man. So fundamentally, I want to provide for my family, and I want to ensure that they've got the opportunities to make as best as they possibly can as well. Um, Underlying around things, I like helping people. It's something just in me. I really like helping people, and I value the small to medium, the SME sector of business, and that's kind of the lifeblood of it. And when those businesses succeed, there is a direct impact on their life. There is a direct impact on their family and and their friends in their circle. And that's a real big driver for me. I work with a lot of smaller companies, and when they get these steps of growth and these successes that come in, you see it, and it transforms them, but it also helps transform their relationship at home, the ability to be a bit calmer because they're not worried about so much things. So there's a huge drive on that. So seeing businesses succeed, really, it really floats my boat. Obviously, getting paid for it, and I've got my own goals and all of that as well. But seeing them fundamentally, seeing businesses actually go from a place of confusion or a place of I used to call it spaghetti head, is where all of the ideas and all of the thoughts are in all wrapped up like a big bowl of spaghetti. When they and when we actually straighten that spaghetti out, and actually they get what the clarity of thought that they need to then progress, you just see the weight lift off their shoulders, and then they move forward. I was talking with a client yesterday, as I have an office in Bletchley Park, and one of my clients is based there at the moment, and we was talking about how that they've grown, and we did a session last year. We looked at some of the fundamental aspects around what needed to change, and some of them were big, so they took a while. And now during lockdown, they've become really, really busy. They've really, really exploded. They've done lots of different marketing, far more focused, and now they've got so many orders. They've got that nice problem to have. It's kind of like, we're actually a bit too busy. We don't have enough hours in the day. We're going to have to do something soon. And that was a real kind of, fantastic. That was brilliant. I like that. That's great, because they're going to employ someone else. So someone else is going to end up having a job, which is great.
It's amazing. It always sounds quite flippant when you say this, but when Overgrowth started, we used to talk about changing people's lives,
Mm,
saving lives.
mm,
I've definitely had two clients who at one point were actually admitted to talking about suicide because the business was that bad, and also marriages. I've definitely saved one marriage as well, based on changing people's lives,
mm,
taking the pressure off them. There's more money coming in and all that, but it always sounds quite cheesy and also quite flippant, and that's one thing I never
yeah.
want to be. Anyone knows me knows what I'm like, and I play around a lot. But there's certain levels even I won't go to, and I think it can sound really cheesy. But
Mm,
hear what you're saying there. It literally does saves lives. It changes people's lives, saves families, and everything
mm.
else as well. It's very cool, very very cool. So, how do you see the world right now?
Full of opportunity. Um, Actually, there
Glad you
is,
said that.
yeah, there's tremendous amounts of opportunity that you can go out there. You do have to find it, and you do have to look for it. And it would be incredibly easy to get bogged down in the mire that is the news at the moment.
Yeah.
The good news very rarely sells. Bad news sells lots. Um, anywhere you look, there's bad news of this has happened, that's happened, death, this, that, and the other, and it can be overwhelming. But there isn't. I find that there isn't a balance, so you have to hunt for the good news, and the good news is around those opportunities. I think the world is in an interesting place. I think we have got, as a species, if you like, this is very big picture stuff. We've got the opportunity to kind of really look at how and what we do, and kind of hit a semi reset button. I don't know, I suppose, to then try and move forward a bit. Um, but yeah, the world for me at the moment is full of opportunity. There's several people that I know that have become busier. COVID has not been a good thing by any stretch of the imagination, but the opportunities that it's provided, the people who are in that mindset will seize those. And there's a couple of people I follow on YouTube that have started new businesses, that have actually created new their own opportunities to then chase down from that. I mean, I've started mine. I incorporated my business in the middle of lockdown, and there's others that have done the same thing, and they've had to do this. It's a buzzword, and I'm not keen on it, but this tremendous pivot, so that they can then keep themselves going. And for the people that are doing, I suppose, things right, they've looked at that and then gone, actually, our business, we don't have a contingency for this. We're not really prepared for this. So we need to, if there is something that happens on a global scale that affects us in this kind of way, we still need to be able to ensure that we're providing jobs, that we still can trade, that we can actually provide value for our customers. And they've had a different thought process around what they're now providing. And I think that's a really good thing. There's a diversity of stuff that's coming out, um, and there are different people that are really discovering that they've got stuff to offer, things of value to offer, and they're looking at that. So I think that's the good that's coming out of all of this. And I think there's some negative things around. There's a lot of negative stuff that's around there,
Absolutely.
but there is a lot of
100%. But I'm glad you laid with the positive. There are opportunities out there. There's probably more opportunities than ever more, but then you've got to go and look for them. They're not going
mm,
to fall at your feet. But also, we met for a very chance meeting, an online event, which probably would never, I probably wouldn't have been there. I don't know if you would have been there if it
nope.
hadn't been for the pandemic, the lockdown, the whole
Mhm.
thing as well. So just by opening up your eyes, getting out there more, there's so many more opportunities. And the more we talk, the more we've got in common, the more
Yeah.
interest we've got, that's a connection. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what's the best tip you give someone starting out right now?
For exhibitions or for business?
You take your choose. You take your choice. I'm not bothered.
Um, I think for business, it is if they're starting out on business, it is to actually go for it. Um, Now there is never a good or a bad time to start a business, but if you've got something that you're passionate about, that you something that you do well, and there's something that you want to that you want to uh, um, you no longer want to be working for someone else or anything like that, then investigate, start looking at how you can do it. Is there a market there? Can you find a market? Are you playing in a red sea or a blue sea? Are you playing in stuff that you've got that there is already an established market in what you do is better? Um, so I think it would be just for starting out in businesses, go for it. For exhibitions, if you're thinking about, are events good for me? Are events something that can help my business? Well, yes, absolutely, because events aren't just the face-to-face exhibition stuff. And if you're going to if you're thinking about events, then my one tip is just get in contact with your customers and say, "Hi, I'm going to do this event at this particular time. Will you join it, please?" It is amazing. It is shocking, actually, Richard. It is heartbreaking. The amount of exhibitors at a stand, and they don't have any of their existing customers coming to them. Why not? Just why not? Sorry,
No,
soapbox.
no, no, you're absolutely right. It's just
No.
simple marketing, but you see that all day long where people just don't communicate enough with existing clients. But
Mm,
having them there in a live environment to sell them to your future clients, your
yeah,
prospects out there, they'll just do the better job than you will ever do at selling yourself as a business. So,
absolutely.
absolute fundamental. It's just such a basic thing. I like
Yeah,
that. That's wicked.
yeah.
So, what project are you working on currently that is most important to you?
So Exhibition Mastery was incorporated in May, and I'm currently working on the launch. As you can see, the icons on the thing but back and all of that kind of stuff. And there's a whole load of stuff that's been going on with that. So Exhibition Mastery was purely before lockdown, face to face. That was pretty much all we were focusing on because live events was the thing that was around. So
Yep.
we've had to look around and then change that. So the biggest project I'm working on at the moment really is getting Exhibition Mastery off the ground. It's getting it fully going, and being able to then get the various different products like the Exhibition Mastery online course finished, and also the Vantage Point workshops that we're doing. They're due to be launched next week as well. So everything is kind of really coming to a real head, and the website is almost there, and the launch is all there as well. The biggest thing I think I'm working on right now to answer that specific question is I'm writing a report on the future of business and actually looking at it in terms of actually how you exhibit your business all the time. And uh, um, it's turned into quite a bit of a thought thing for me because there's a lot of stuff I'm actually pulling in from it. I'm part of the exhibition think tank, which is a global organization or a global think tank that's looking at how we move forward with the exhibitions and events industry. And some of uh, um, the information and the insight that's come out of that from America, from Europe, from Australia, from South Africa is everywhere. It's really interesting. There are some real commonalities around that, and some of those are nothing to do with events; they're to do with business, and actually how businesses interact at exhibitions and events and what they can do and what they should do. So there's that's coming down, and that I'm really quite excited about. That will be the thing that you can then I'm giving that away for the launch, really, so that people can then see the whole kind of, this is a bit of a bigger picture part.
So my next question was going to be about how anyone can get any further information about either you or the business, or probably this report. Sounds pretty interesting. Where can people be able to get it from? Have you got a URL, anything else you can describe now, or I'll happily share your email address afterwards?
Well, the report is literally on the final stages. So what you can do, if you go to exhibitionmastery.com, that's exhibitionmastery.com. You'll hit a landing page at the moment, and it'll ask you for your email address that will say get your report now. If you put that in, when the report's ready, I'll send it out to you. I've designed the page so that it looks like the report is ready. It saves me doing two, and but the yeah, put your email address in there. I'll get that sent out to you as soon as it's done. I'm hoping I'm hoping that that's going to be ready, QA'd, and actually finished and formatted by Monday, Tuesday next week.
There's a commitment. So it
Oh
feels like
God,
it's
yeah.
all coming together very nicely, then all together as well. You're not just dripping something out. It's all coming bangs, crashing together here in one go for a big launch.
Yeah, pretty much. So we've got
Love
lots
it.
of other things that's coming on there. There's there will be a podcast at some point as well, and that will be looking at similar things in terms of the challenges that businesses are facing around. And hopefully, I'll invite you to be a guest on that one as well, Rich.
Love
That'll be
to.
very good. And so there's going to be a whole host of different things. There's lots of articles and things that are coming out, and one part of the mastery business is an element called Vantage Point, which is it's separate from the event side, but it looks at what's going on in terms of your business to give you a vantage point to identify where things are not working. And so there's going to be a lot of stuff that's coming out from that as well. And I said earlier about the workshops. We can do some online workshops, and one of the things that I'm particularly adept at is listening to the problem, being able to see what the underlying cause is, and then look and see where we can then solve the actual problem rather than just put a sticking plaster over the symptom.
Amazing. So I'll also share your website on the notes as well. So I'll put that in
Thank you.
there.
Yep.
Very, very interesting. Very, very useful. We could keep going for hours and hours and hours, but I know you haven't got time. But Steve, really appreciate your time. Thank you for taking time joining me today.
No problem at all. Thank you.